Hello, ladies and gentlemen. You're all welcome to Invest Africa podcast, where we have a deep dive into real estate, where we'll have a deep dive into wealth building and strategic investment tips that are transforming Africa today. You know, every episode comes with expert opinions, success stories, and life changing, transforming tips just for you to make the right decisions in real estate investments. And I am your host, as always, Yahweh in the building, because you know I'm always building. Ladies and gentlemen, with me today is an expert in real estate, and he wears so many feathers with him. So he's a lawyer, he's a real estate developer, he's a youth coach, and he's so many other things. And also he's also a man of God. You understand? Yes. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you will, welcome with me, Mr. Philemon Okeke.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Yahweh, for having me here.
You're welcome. Okay, so today we'll just quickly deep dive into real estate. Some really some topics that have been bothering me on real estate. But first of all, there's something I read. There's something I read that the African market in real estate is projected at to be at $1 trillion as of the year 2035. So it's a gold mine now. It's the next big thing, if not becoming the big thing already. So what is there with all these trends and predictions about real estate being $1 trillion industry?
First of all, the basic need of every man it's clothing, shelter, and food. So any business around these three, it's a gold mine. So
Okay.
you can't satisfy everyone's needs. The demand for shelter outweighs the number of shelters available. Shelter in the sense of properties and buildings.
Okay.
Yeah, you see now that rents are tripling and everybody is now looking for a way to have their own house. So it's a good man. That estimate should be reconsidered and increased, if you ask me.
Wow. That means we are looking at way beyond $1 trillion, even in Africa, even maybe even Nigeria too.
Yes. You can see here in Nigeria, people because they want to own a house, they don't mind going outskirts of town into villages. And we know a village today is a city tomorrow.
That's true. That's true. So recently, recently on social media, I have someone who usually calls out real estate developers in Lagos, and it seems like clients in Lagos are no longer satisfied. So what is your overview of the real estate market here in River State, Port Harcourt especially?
For Port Harcourt, I would say it's fair. It's fair in the sense that they give you basic value for what you're paying for. But calling out a real estate developer or a real estate realtor about a property that you don't know what has been put into it. For example, there can be two houses at GRH about the prime location,
Yeah.
the same amount for the land, but the cost of finishing,
Okay.
cost of construction can be predicted. We know what road is, sand is, cement is, but the cost of finishing differs.
Okay.
You can get a bucket of paint for 100,000 for a seat paint. You can still get a bucket of seat paint for more than that.
Oh.
Yeah, then what kind of a house? Is it just a normal house? Is it a smart house? So there you can't just say this property is overpriced because you've not been into it and you don't know. For example, fittings, you can get a switch for 10,000, you can get a switch for 300,000.
Oh.
So when someone is saying it's overpriced, you need to go in there, with a quantity survey or a valuer and know what they put in before you start condemning. You don't just condemn based on location. And this house in this location is this amount, this house in this location is this amount. You must go in and know what they put in the finish.
Okay. So one more time on the real estate market. How would you evaluate the real estate market? Do you think that we should do more in Port Harcourt or in the South region in terms of real estate, maybe to take it to another level or to help to take it to another level in terms of value for money? Because there's a rise in demand for houses, homes, affordable homes, because these days houses are no longer affordable. So what is your general overview and evaluation of the real estate right here in the city of Port Harcourt?
In the city of Port Harcourt, first of all, it's not like Lagos where a developer has 500 buildings he's doing.
Okay.
So a developer in Port Harcourt at most 10, 20. The one that has the massive expanse of land, partnering with the state government, and they are outskirts. So the
Okay.
original architecture of Port Harcourt was Greater Port Harcourt,
Oh, okay.
where they move everything towards that area.
Okay.
The plan was to move the state secretariat and so many facilities there, banks. But now the place you see those cheap houses, you won't find a bank.
Oh.
It's a red flag for kidnap.
Oh,
You can't be
okay.
driving around those areas.
Okay.
So for Port Harcourt, we need to come to a point where we have massive when the state government it sees that someone is developing in an area that will be cost efficient for buyers, they should put structures around. You don't expect the civil servants to start coming from the airport to
Exactly.
GRA.
Yes.
If he does that, if he buys the house for like 50 million, the money he will spend for transport for 1 or 10 years, if he add it, he should have bought somewhere in town.
Oh, okay.
So these are the things. But Lagos, everywhere is developed. Lagos is expanding. In fact, where some people call Lagos is Ogun State.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And everything they need is there. But these places that would have been cheap, you don't find banks, you don't find
Police stations.
yeah, all those things. Even access road is lonely. So that's the difference. But when it comes to structural quality and finishing, Port Harcourt, we are trying. At least when you count Lagos, you count Port Harcourt before other cities.
Okay.
But Lagos, they started long
ago, yeah.
Just like the laws, most Nigerian laws now that we see are laws from Lagos State that others are replicating. Like
Oh, so they just adopted them.
the signage law of River States
Okay.
that regulates billboards. They went to Lagos and saw what they did. Even the civil procedural rules and the law courts is Lagos they're adopting. So Lagos is like they're the firstborn, they're ahead, and everybody wants to be like them. For now, we can't compare with Lagos. We can't. Because in Lagos, somebody substitutes the water, built 300 buildings. Well, I'm yet to see a developer in Port Harcourt that have done at once 50 buildings.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and yet I stand to be corrected. So, but they're trying to do 10-year, 5-year, and we're picking up. We'll get there one day.
But you brought up something that is I think is very key, and I think people should pay attention to is, I think it should be what you will call maybe PPE, public-private, partnership, because you're saying that the government can do more if they partner.
Yeah, we've
had
like one or two of it.
And also say
The Gulf Estates was
okay. Yes.
And the one they're doing at Rita, the Gulf Estate was a massive success because it was in town.
Okay.
Now this one, we don't know the sales rates. We've not, but we're thinking that because it's out of town, nobody wants to live there and start coming back to town. It might not be as successful as, even though we might have, the primary markets, they would have bought it. What people do is that they buy from developers with hope to resell.
Sell.
So the problem will not be the developers, now it's the people that have bought to resell.
Sell. Okay.
Yeah.
Then there's something you also mentioned to Greater Port Harcourt, because I don't think people really understood it. I think maybe under Governor Michi it was really publicized, but I think after a while. But can you say something about Greater Port Harcourt, like maybe the vision that they had for Greater Port Harcourt, and if that vision can still be realized if the government partners with private institutions to make that happen?
The vision they had for Greater Port Harcourt is to decongest the city called Port Harcourt.
Okay.
Because Port Harcourt is obviously, everybody's everywhere.
Yes.
And when they take it to that area, so the first thing they did then was to put up a stadium.
Oh yeah.
And
everybody
started coming around, but most people that went around then, they found out that after the then government left, every government have their own priority.
That's true.
So for some is health, for some is infrastructure. It's not like they won't touch others, but that's why they are here. Because every government will not do what the other government is doing.
True.
Maybe some sectors will die. Even though we don't want to undermine the political differences and political issues. So if that vision was achieved, then Port Harcourt would have been like Lagos, where Lagos has gone beyond Lagos states.
Okay. Okay.
Then it's not possible for us to have very affordable homes, because then they'll be buying lands in like 300,000, 500,000, and all
Okay.
that. So if you buy 500,000, you develop simple business ethics and competition will make you not to take your price so
So too
high.
high.
But why am I going to stay there when no good schools there for my children?
Okay, that's true.
The closest bank is at a greater
Oh, that's
or
true.
inside the airport.
That's true.
And people that sell around there, the only marketing is 5 minutes to the airport.
Exactly. I remember. Yeah.
What's the economic value of airports to an average person?
That's it.
You won't
Because not everybody's flying.
Not everyone's flying. It's not like there's a school in the airport that can contain. So that's it. But we're watching what's happening in Rift Half, and we're hoping that the government will still come in and not just giving them a land and partnering with them, but bring every other facility.
That's true.
Maybe move the state secretariats and extension. The way they did to the state university, they moved the campus to this side.
Yeah, that's true.
You
That's
can
true.
say these people should come here, move something, or even move part of government house.
That would be interesting. Though.
With that, you now see that even though people will take advantage and increase the price, you will now see that more houses will come, more developers will emerge. But now in this town, they just have few known developers, and there's no basic developer that we say aside this Rift Half guy that's because of the golf estate.
Projects.
So
Yes.
we have a couple of people building, build one sell, build another one,
One sell.
build one sell. But when you're building one to sell to recoup the money, it's not as profitable as when you build
Massively. So, quick one. I want to ask, being a lawyer, how did you get into real estate?
And most lawyers do documents for people that buy properties. So
Okay.
every lawyer has an idea of real estate business when it comes to transfer of property.
Okay.
But then when you're documenting for people, you would want to buy your own.
True.
And when you buy your own, you've seen others sell, so that curiosity will come. Why don't I sell this
True.
and buy this? So it came from, and somebody called that it's a property they want to sell. Help lawyer. Do you know someone that want to buy? And when I went there, initially the road was bad. So I got someone that wanted to buy. He mentioned an amount. People rejected it, and they don't need it. And after a while, they called me that I should call the guy to come.
Okay.
So when I went there again to take the guy there, they've done the road. And the guy said he wasn't interested. So I told the lady that I would have bought, but I don't have up to your amount. And he said, bring what you have. So we bought, sold, and money came, gave God his own share, bought another one, sold. But before then, I've had this flair for properties because I've seen people build.
Okay.
And I go to sites. So I've seen family members build, clients build, and they ask questions. And sometimes when there are issues as a lawyer, you have to settle the challenge between the engineer and the property owner.
Okay.
Arbitrate and settle things. So you hear some things and curiosity.
That's
So
interesting.
we got into there. You start from building 1 to building 2 to building 5 to building 6 to building 8.
So, what advice would you give to an average Nigerian for, let's say, not apart from the sake of just for sake of owning, someone who wants to build wealth over time? What advice would you give the average Nigerian who still doesn't think that having a land or a property or just having your piece of the pie in real estate is something worth doing?
I would advise the person to go into it, because if you have the resources, like they will say, real estate is one and the only business that is real. Except you're greedy that you run into fraudsters.
True.
Yeah, except you're greedy, you run into fraudsters and they are telling you put this to get this, or you just check the market value and go and do your due diligence. You can't do real estate without a lawyer.
That's
That's
true.
where
That's
they
true.
make mistake. And most people that come to lawyers, if you bypass a lawyer, you get back to a lawyer.
That's true. That's true.
So the work of a lawyer is to do due diligence, to make inquiries, ask questions, and guide you appropriately. I've had a case where someone wanted to buy a property and they gave me the documents to prepare. When I look at the document, there's what we call reciter.
Okay.
The part where you write the history of the document.
Yes. Yeah. It's ahead.
Yahweh's family gave the land to Yahweh as
Okay.
their first son. Yahweh sold to Mr. B. Mr. B is now selling to my clients.
Okay.
So when we check the reciter, we didn't see the ancestral owners of the land. How did they get the land? And the client that brought the document to me is saying that they had 4 plots, they sold 2 plots for 10 years, no issue. I said, madam, you will have issues. So what I did, I signed that. I said, I can't go ahead. She was willing to pay. I said, I cannot frank a document. Hey, that wouldn't have been my position like 20 years ago or 10 years ago.
Okay.
For a lawyer that's desperate that needs money, you just go ahead and draft it.
Didn't-
Because the one they brought to me was drafted by a lawyer.
True.
So you see, we in that kind of transaction, maybe by stroke of luck, they won't have issues, but there's a 90% chances that after 10 years, the Pharaoh Daniel Joseph will come out.
Very true.
Balance.
That's
as a
true.
proof.
Yes.
You must have proper documentation. Don't bypass. Don't do it. You can't be spending so much on a property and you're looking for a cheaper lawyer or a cheaper surveyor. So these people, the surveyor charts the land and tells you it's government land, it's not government land. He tells you that this land is canal. I had another challenge. I was processing CFO for someone. And when we got to the stage, they discovered that where he bought, when they tell it's called government canal. So lands around there belongs to God.
Interesting.
So it means he can't get a CFO.
That must be very heartbreaking.
So most times people don't want to go into it because they are scared of losing money. But you need to do the right thing. Don't be in a hurry. Don't be under pressure. Someone should not call you, say, my wife won't born pikin. Give me this money. Later, do due diligence before you part it. Before you part with money. See what EFCC has brought now. A very known real estate company in Nigeria. I don't want to call the name. Very known. They flagged them as a Ponzi scheme. And they said any company that is telling you to bring money to pay for a property and be receiving returns on investment. That's what the EFC said. That's the Ponzi scheme. And they're robbing Peter to pay Paul. And that's what people are looking for. Why don't I just buy it and own it? Why would I pay for it if you're not giving me and you'll be giving me money
in return?
I'm not saying you can't invest. You can see a developer and say, okay, I want to invest my money into this.
Okay.
Have it documented. That's another way of coming into real estate. You're not an investor.
Okay.
But remember that the document wrote investor, not purchaser.
Oh.
So those nomenclatures matter in law. They're writing as investor, okay, you're entitled to this return on investment. And don't accept unrealistic. 100% return.
People are too greedy. So you can't happen. And that brings me to my next questions. So what are some of the legal frameworks in real estate that potential investors and buyers should look out for to avoid chicken cross the road and you can't find it?
As I said, the journey of real estate starts with a lawyer. Before we buy the land, we involve a lawyer. When we are selling the properties, you that is buying the property involve a lawyer. The fact that someone built a high-rise building of 100 flats and he has sold 90 does not mean you should not involve a lawyer. And this person bought this person. Involve a lawyer to do due diligence, to know the history of the property.
Exactly.
Because you can be in that high-rise building and someone will say it's my land. The law say whatever is put on the land belongs to the land
owner.
So if I build on your land illegally, you own my building.
Wow.
Unless you saw me and set it like a trap.
Okay.
Say, okay, let's make him the build.
And you can prove that beyond reasonable doubt.
There are exceptions to all these things. So get a lawyer. You're interested in a property, get a lawyer. This is the property I want. Let him ask questions. Let him ask questions. If it's a developed area, there are ways they do. So I should ask boundary neighbor. And I will get this land. If it's a village, easier. Go and ask which family get this land.
Okay.
And they will show you the family. What would the cost is a bottle of wine? And meet the family head and say, this land is owned. Did you sell to anybody at some point?
Okay.
and they'll say we sold to so person. You must trace the history before you go in. But before you start tracing, confirm, because like for here in River State, there are places that are under Greater Port Harcourt.
Okay.
There are also places that are under Uniports.
Oh.
Yeah, so you see all those Obirikwere, Sass Road,
Yes.
Alo is Uniport compensation.
Woo.
Yes, the whole of Sass Road, Obirikwere, all those areas from there on that East-West Road. Now, people would say, and they're going to readjust it, government. So it means that when the federal government came to site Uniports, they give them all those lands. But they obviously could not build and cover those areas. So the communities might have gone to negotiate with the state government. People have taken so much from us, and they say, okay, take back this one. But it has not been documented.
Oh.
So it suggests that any day they wake up, they can come and clear those places belongs to government. So that's why you cannot get a C of O on those areas.
Oh.
Yeah. You cannot get a C of O on those areas.
Interesting.
So it's people have been saying because we've been here for over 200 years, there are no issues. But legally, a sound lawyer will hardly advise his client to go into them.
Okay.
As a developer, I can't go there. Nothing takes me to those areas. Because we are building with a bigger picture for purchasers. We're not looking at just River State investors.
Okay.
People buy from Lagos.
Okay.
And the first thing they will ask you is they will chart the land from Lagos. And say they want to see the chart from the state. The moment it shows green, it belongs to government. They won't even wait for you to start explaining that. See, people have been staying here. It was a mistake. Government don't make mistake.
Yeah.
Also GRA also.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, GRA. There are places you see government. I was supposed to get the property in GRA, and when we went there, it was chartered government.
Okay.
The man was telling me, look at, my neighbor has been staying here. I said, your neighbor has been staying here. If I was to live there, I would consider. But because I'm building to sell,
Yeah.
if the buyer charts it and sees River State government, no paper, no document of allocation,
Wow.
I mean, my money will be hanging. So the fact that other people are doing it does not mean you should
Should do it.
real estate. The fact that everybody is doing it does not mean you should do it. And they say good thing, they finish. If you miss this one, there'll be another one.
Most definitely. Most definitely. That brings me to another question. In the trends, in the moving trends of real estate, I see that there are people are making developers are making investment in smart homes. Are smart homes worth the investment?
Yes, smart home, like the name implies, smart makes things easy for you. You don't need to stand to on the TV, to on the AC. Now that we're in band A,
Okay.
no, sometimes you forget the AC was on and the power went off, and you left for work. So because it's a smart home, when power is restored, you can turn off the AC with your phone. Yes, you control your house with your phone. You receive guests. With a smart home, you don't need a security man. You don't need a nanny or a help. Somebody gets to your gate. When the person is at your gate, you open the gate for them through your phone. Open the parlor for them. Set up the parlor for them. On the AC, play the kind of music you want. That's what smart home is. That's what human beings would have done for you. AI is doing it for you with a voice command or with the phone. So that's the benefit. So nobody wants to. People will just run back. Light don't come. Let's rush home and go and off everything. That's stress you can do with your phone.
Oh.
You can monitor energy usage.
Oh.
Yes, that's automation. You can monitor everything. You can set things up and set your AC to go off. If you're the kind of person that you catch cold after 3 hours
Okay.
and you are tired, sometimes we wake up shivering to go and turn off the AC. You can set the AC to go off after 3 hours.
That's really, really interesting.
So automation is the way forward.
Okay.
It's the idea is to ease stress. You don't need to go up to turn off a light up. You just stay there and say, Alexa,
Turn off the lights.
in the living room.
Wow. That's amazing. That's amazing.
Then the kitchen appliances, everything, cutting.
Up to kitchen appliances.
Yes.
That's really interesting.
Moment
I've heard of kitchen appliances.
Yeah, it works with smart switches and smart sockets. So if the appliance is connected to a smart socket, you speak to the socket. turn off, it goes off. The lights, if you speak to the switch.
Wow.
But the only challenge is internet. So if you're
Yeah, it's this.
So for us that do smart homes, we use fiber.
Okay.
Because make sure there's fiber there.
Okay.
You use number one is buffering, Alexa is not going to respond to you.
Oh, okay. Okay.
If you have good net, good internet, everybody should have it.
Okay.
Everybody, the issue of fire outbreak, you hear that your neighbor's house is catching fire, you're at work. You just switch off the house, everything through your phone.
That's
Some
amazing.
thefts. They break into your house, they notify you first. For the smart door locks reduced, and even somebody gets to the door, they send you a message
Oh, it sends you notifications.
that someone is at your door. So you can be here and through your phone, you see who's at the door because the smart door locks have cameras. You see who's at the door, you grant the person access through a one-time password. Person enters, can come out again.
Woohoo.
So it makes life easy. And we just suffer ourselves here.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, you all heard it. You all heard it. You all heard it. You all heard it. And at this particular point, we're going to bring our podcast to a close. And I know you learned 1 or 2, 3, 4, 5 things that will help you in making the best smart investment choices this year and beyond. Once again, we say thank you to our guest, Mr. Phil. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming. And ladies and gentlemen, till we meet again, you know how it is. By your host, Invest Africa Podcast, Mr. Yahweh in the building, because you know we are always building something. We're always up to something. Till I see you again. Bye, 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 bye.